Are you ready to think big and act bold? Then you are in the right place. This is Innovative Entrepreneurs, a podcast that will bring you the stories, insights, and tips from some of the most successful and innovative entrepreneurs in the world. I am your host, Erica Bailey, and I am here to help you start, scale, and sustain your own entrepreneurial journey. Let's get started. Today, we have a very special guest with me. I'm excited to talk with her because we had such great synergy and we solved problems like instantly. And so I'm really excited to talk with her today. She is an autism advocate who is on a mission to create change for the autism community. She is the CEO of Childs LLC. It's an autism consulting business, which was created to support families. She writes under the pen name S.J. Childs, which she chooses to honor her children who are also autistic. She's a children's book author who teaches kindness and inclusion for all. She's a member of the Autism Council of Utah, a global autism speaker, and a podcast host of the S.J. Childs Show podcast, who has a lot more podcasts than I do. She is partnered with various organizations and individuals to provide autism training, education, awareness. She's also organizing a virtual summit called Autism Knows No Borders, where she invited speakers from different countries and cultures to share their perspectives on autism. Like, that was a lot to say. Wow, this is beautiful. Like,
it sounded really neat when you were saying it. So yeah, I'll say, yeah, that's me.
Well, thank you for joining me. Do you mind if I tell the story real quick of how we connected?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's so special.
I really do too. So Sarah posted on this group that we're a part of, and she said, I need some help with marketing, but I had a feeling that like something was going on. So I believe my daughter responded, and then I messaged Sarah privately, and I'm asking her like, okay, talk to me about what you're trying to do. We went through some basics, and then I realized that her budget, it didn't even make sense to put into marketing. There's so many other ways to use it. And so we chit-chatted for was it like 2 hours? Would you say just coming over strategy or going over strategy, right? Is that how you remember it?
Definitely.
We just had this connection. And then ultimately, not speaking for you, but
please.
We did, the things that we came up with really helped her boost this event. We were scared. Like, how do we get this to go? And we made some simple decisions. Didn't cost very much at all, if anything.
Yeah.
And we made it work. And so I'm really excited to have you in my life and have you on this podcast. And so, yeah. Is that how you remember it?
Absolutely. Well, and another really special piece sticks out for me because it was also the week where it was my grandfather's passing, I think, and he is in the same city as you are, which I am in Salt Lake and you're in Evanston. So it was just so special. It was like this grandpa sending the right person at the right time, and I couldn't be more happier about it. I know, right?
I promise to go visit. I promise to go visit and tell them thank you.
Yeah, it's so special. So yeah, and I think that when you can connect with somebody on that type of an authentic, vulnerable level, the movement you can have moving forward with them is infinite. Like, I think that we make connections in our lives based on what we really need and the energies we're really putting out for ourselves to receive back. And so I'm so glad that I could be open at that moment, just grabbing a little tissue here. And not only that, but let me thank you right now up front for that wonderful time that you spent with me and free services you offered me, basically, which was just incredible. But not only that, but now you can know that you have contributed, because with the proceeds of that money that I was going to spend, I also put towards starting this nonprofit. And I used all of that, 100% of that towards the nonprofit. So now you've just been a part of that as well. And so now it's like, I know it's really
my tissues. Oh my gosh. Wow. I don't know. Okay. Oh, Sarah, I think I love you.
I love you too. And it's just so special. What I'm trying to do is to create a global network of autistic, opportunities and education. And so it's just so amazing that you would feel in your heart and know like, hey, this isn't something that, she needs to give me $500 for Facebook ads, which, yeah, but the way that it happened, I mean, we were able to really get movement, and it was so great. We had over 500 messages over the weekend in the live stream message box. 500 people, commenting. And I think the average, it was a virtual event with, it was 20 hours of this event, but our average watch time was 5.5 hours. That's like Netflix special right there,
Yes, and that's great. Well, you provided beautiful content.
Yeah.
And it had amazing people there. So I'd sit there and watch it for 5.5 hours. Like, hell yeah.
I had great responses. I mean, it just really, and some of the specialists, I wanted to say some of the specialist ones are those that are the parents of the presenters that reach out and are like, wow, thank you for giving, this individual this platform to speak up, to share their value and their worth. And just getting that from like as a mom and as a parent, oh my gosh, right? Good thing I have the tissues. It's so special. And it's underserved yet more understood nowadays community than ever before. And so I think that riding on the momentum of this is the best thing I can possibly be doing.
So it sounds like that was your why. Like it sounds like you've explained your why pretty much. I do have a more personal question, which I think obviously this is what's happened. But you have children with autism, is that correct?
Yep. So I'll give you a short, long story. Our son was diagnosed at 16 months old, 10, 11 years ago. So it's been quite some time. And back in even 11 years ago, there really just wasn't as much information. There wasn't as many services provided and available. And so I just did everything I could, got all the information that I could. And within that time period till now, we've also discovered my husband and our daughter is also on the spectrum. And in discovering about my daughter, who's 11 and was 8 at the time, it really gave me to think, like, how is this brilliant, young, like achieving, successful little kid autistic, aside from what I've been, known and seen on the other end? And how much relatable is that to me? And I went and got my own testing done and found out that I'm also autistic. And so in that, now I'm able to step forward from a space of my own self as a wife, as a mother. And I think it's like this amazing light that I can shine and just bring this understanding for people, because they look at me and they don't, of course, even my mother-in-law, who just found out yesterday, I know that's strange sounding, but we haven't spoke to her a while. And my husband just brought it up to her yesterday. And she was like, are you kidding? That I'd had no idea. And it's just these amazing ways that we can start to express and, like you said, form a better understanding and a new perspective of how autism is showing up in the world today.
So what inspired you? Are your children, your family? Is that what inspired you to create this consulting business? And,
and it's interesting. When I was reading the question, and that's why I said that, I prefaced that to you before, because I would normally have said that, it was my children but I can remember so far back always wanting to be more, achieve more, do the next thing, go on to the next thing. And I don't think that number one, typical brains or non-entrepreneur minds have that access to that motivation in them, or maybe that risk-taking factor that they're like, I'm done being a preschool teacher. I want to go do real estate. I'm done selling real estate. I want to be a paralegal. I'm done being a paralegal. I want to be a massage therapist. Okay, I'm done being a massage therapist. I will write children's books. And now here we are, podcast and da-da-da-da. And so I think that in that, I remember sitting, and this is the thought I had this morning, reading through the questions and everything and refocusing. I remember sitting at a law firm and I had like affirmations under my desk, and I wasn't married then, had no kids. And in that, it said, I have an amazing husband and family, and I'm just these affirmations for my future, my manifestations.
Absolutely.
I have. And sometimes we don't recognize how much mental effort, number one, we put into those things. And then sometimes they, go by the wayside. And then we circle back years later and think, oh my gosh, I completed the list. Like, I got it. I got the things. I got the, the husband, the family. But also I remember sitting there looking out the window and knowing someday I will not be behind these windows every day. I won't be behind this desk every day. Someday I am going to be more than just sitting. I'm going to be driving whenever I want. I'm going to be outside whenever I want. That's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah. And it's just like this thing inside you that is like burning, right? This burning knowing of, and luckily in all of those fancy careers, I was able to procure a lot of entrepreneurship through those. In massage therapy, number one, that was kind of like the first.
Because you're your own boss, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I took the test, got the certificate, got the certifications, did all the things I needed to do. And, at the time it was funny because I remember my mom saying, oh, massage, like, oh, that's kind of, that I don't know about that, Sarah, what, I hope you work at like a fancy place. And I was like, I'm going to work for sports teams. Like, relax. This is my idea of what this looks like. And what you're thinking, nope, totally do different things. And so I did. My dream was to work for the 49ers. That did not happen, but I did work for the chiropractor for the Utah Jazz for many years. So I fulfilled my
30.
My other dream, And it was fantastic to just then know, okay, I can do something else. And then I think when you're on that path, you're unstoppable, I believe, because there's still so many things. I mean, I have like papers with the brainstorming bubbles all over the place. There are great ideas everywhere in this office and room, right? And all I need, and why I'm doing the nonprofit, is to be able to fund them and make them, bring them into creation. But they're all possible. So, and that's where it started. That's where I think, and I don't know who the inspiration was. I mean, my father was a military F-4 pilot, and then he was the commander of the Reno Air National Guard and a retired major general. So,
or his service. Are you talking about Evanston, Grandpa?
No, he was a Navy guy, actually.
Okay.
This is my father. Thank you. Yeah. And my mom was a nurse. And so I think they both had like these stable, and then, even just over the last weekend, I was thinking, how neat is it that I've gotten these like really great attributes from a humanitarian type person like my mom, but someone who takes command and takes control, and like, I never excited about that part of anything. I probably tried to steer away from that. But now when I'm embracing my kind of like my bossness, if you will, my mom boss, I need to step into that. I am, in the command of this, and I need to be the founder and the person who puts things underway. And I'm learning so much.
The learning part, like, honestly, Jason and I, we started with nothing. We couldn't get jobs. I had great degrees. I wasn't going to get paid, $12 an hour.
Easy.
So we started our business. We said, you know what? We've got relentless conviction that we're going to make this happen. And, 15 years later, here we are. So I totally, I'm on the same path with you, but I love the manifestation part. I truly believe that. And someday, you know, off stage, I'll tell you how I manifested a house.
Oh, me too. I can't believe we get to share stories about that.
Oh, we have totally got to talk.
Holy girl. Yes. This is why we connected too. This obviously goes to show is because have the same energy and we work from the same intention. And I think that that's a lot to say about. And I think that, you know, when you're talking about success, and obviously everyone wants monetary success, but there's also a different level of success that I've been able to achieve without money. And that's in the reputation in my community and in these other business communities that know that they can trust me to bring the right, updated, as much as I possibly can information, non-biased, just absolutely with love, with kindness, all of those things that I want to be teaching, because I think that's how we create the next generation's better understanding of one another so that they can be more embracing of each other as a human race and not so divided in their differences and their, you know, everything.
You're writing a book?
Okay. Yeah, right. You are recording this. We can transcribe it.
Wow. I mean, like, okay. So how do you cope with the stress and challenges of being an autistic woman and an advocate in the world that's, I guess, not as accommodating or understanding of neurodiversity? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Right. A mouthful. I would say it's kind of two parts as far as like, first off, I showed up as a parent. And I think when you show up as a parent, especially a mama bear, the word you said earlier, conviction.
Yeah.
That conviction is driving and it will drive you and you have to guide it in the right directions. But in that, seeing how other children reacted or how adults reacted at the grocery store and all of these things that I was just shocked by and disappointed by, I realized not only that, and I will say since then, I think that I've grown enough, and especially to understand that I no longer have disappointment for those people and I don't hold any judgment against them now because I know that they don't have any understanding. And we have a little saying at the SJ Childs is that a little bit of knowledge turns fear into understanding. And when I'm able to...
Wait, hold on. Let's rewind. A little bit of knowledge. Say it again for me.
Turns fear into understanding. And that goes with children, with adults. Any bit of information that I can provide into society. You know, I found that here's a tangible one that you can hear, a real life story. When I bring my son, who is 13 and semi-verbal, which means he can communicate, but he still has a lot of challenges and social challenges, and he has a global developmental delay, which means developmentally he's behind. He is profoundly gifted, so that's a whole other bucket of things. But when I go to the grocery store, I often had a hard time, and it wasn't until within the last year that I ordered a whole bunch of headphones on Amazon. I saw like a stockpile and I thought, oh, these would be so great to hand out to kids, like when I see that they're in need anywhere. So I bought all of these boxes of headphones, and now I think there's only one box left because my son's opened all of them and used them everywhere we go, which is the exact purpose they were meant for. And so, but now when I go out with him and he has these headphones on, with whatever knowledge the public has received up until this point, they kind of know and have this understanding, okay, he might be autistic, or maybe I've seen that on, Sheldon, or I saw that on another TV show, or somebody represented it in some way or another. Mm-hmm. And so they're able to really give so much more grace and space and patience than ever before. And it was almost like, we had always come up, well, we should make like little lanyards. Well, we should make t-shirts. We should make vests. We should all of these things. But we didn't, ever have the availability to do all of those things. And what we did was put the headphones on him. And the same response occurred in society, is that they slowed down and gave him space. And it's just a little bit of knowledge, right? A little bit of understanding. And still some people, of course, don't. They think he's listening to music or whatever he's doing. But then they can, kind of maybe tell in his actions and the way that he moves his body, and the way he speaks. And he questions things in a question form. So he'll say, "Do you love me?" And his way of saying, "I love you." And I say, "I love you back." "Do you love me?" "Yes, I love you." "I love you." And he's like, wants to start these conversations, and he does them with questions about what he wants to know. So for me, definitely hard doing that as a parent. Now, as a woman myself, the information that it's been able to provide me for my marriage is hands down. We got closer and closer and closer and closer. And when I understood he was autistic and that my son was like him, it was, aha, like, okay, this is okay. I know how to deal with the food aversions. I know how to deal with the sleep schedules. I've done this with this husband guy that I so dearly love, and for 20 years. In fact, tomorrow will be our flip-iversary, which means
a flip-iversary,
right? So 19 years ago, tomorrow, we flipped a quarter on whether we should date or not after we'd been friends for about 6 months. And we've been together ever since. So we celebrate our flip-iversary. Oh my gosh. It just is so sweet. And we oftentimes will flip quarters to answer questions or like get the universe's knowledge on where we should move forward, because we could trust it on that, didn't let us down. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. But the knowledge that it gave us as spouses for one another was so important. And the fact that there was certain times during every month where he felt like, "Why are you giving me dirty looks?" Or like, "Did I do something wrong?" And always like it was his fault. It was finally this amazing understanding that, hey, I am super sensitive to touch and I can't handle any kind of touch, whether it's like pant legs or sheets or socks or physical touch for sure. That's definitely. But it was always, I mean, I went through it. It's my body. I went through it over and over and over and over again for how many, years. But how he was receiving it was completely different. He was always feeling like, like, what did I do wrong? Or, and so now it's this beautiful understanding that it's not his fault. He didn't do anything wrong. It has nothing to do with him personally, which has been it just lightens the load for everyone when you have that better understanding of your spouse. And yeah. And so it's nice. It's been like this really learning experience. Every time we come up against something new, we can reevaluate it in another way and think, oh my gosh, this might be of how we used to have looked at it, but now we can look at it with fresh eyes and a different perspective, and kind of like what we're trying to teach. Yeah.
So you had these awesome, careers, and then you decided, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. So which you learned, right?
Yeah.
You learned on the, I think we all do. So what kind of tips would you give to other entrepreneurs or individuals looking to start their own business or their own life by design?
It's so interesting you said that too, because I think that I really listened to my intuition, which I think everyone should do. And there was a time where I was going through divorce, married to an ex-husband. It was a physically abusive relationship, and it was bad, and I was leaving, and there was a lot of stress, a lot of trauma, all kinds of things. And I went into like maybe a year to even 3 years where I didn't have any kind of like that emotional, physical relationship or anything. And I lost. There was like a lot of loss in that I didn't feel like I was getting enough from anything. I was never satisfied with like dating or anything like that. It was this emptiness. And so it was literally my own thought that if I go into massage therapy, I can heal and fill this space of physical touch in a way that is, I can help heal others and I can heal myself through that. Maybe I didn't know it. Maybe it was just intuitive. But when I did it, that's exactly what happened, is I was able to heal myself in the process of healing others and gain back that kind of balance that I needed in my life to counteract the other balance that I was getting. First off, I mean, your own life experiences are your own, and you're the only one that is going to know what those are and what drives you to do things. But I think that the best thing you can do is follow what you love and what you are interested in. And, obviously mine is sporadic and I fall in and out of love with things, and that's okay. Like I still love massage therapy, even though I don't do it anymore. I still love attorneys. I got attorneys in my back pocket because I know how important they are in the world. I know how important it is.
We've had a lot of the similar, Okay, so your suggestion would be to just follow your heart, follow your intuition, right?
Exactly.
I think that's what I did.
I'm trying that now, and I really hope it still keeps guiding me in the right direction.
Well, right, we don't hope, we know. Right? No, this is guiding me in the direction,
You're right. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that reminder. Absolutely.
Oh, no, it comes from my mentor. He that's what he says: you build a life by design, not by default. Wow. So you are so fun to talk to. Okay. So how do you collaborate and network with other autistic individuals and experts in your field? What are some of the benefits and the challenges of doing so? Ooh, these questions are fun.
They are. They're good. Mark is good. if he worked on these. But I think
Mark is good.
He is.
Mark is a podcast manager, by the way. So if everybody needs one, just contact WG Digital.
I love that. I love them. I really was so lucky when DJ was, that's my son's name, was in preschool and kindergarten. His school saw the value value in me being able to help the parents of the other kids around me, even if it was just in talking to them and making them feel comfortable being there. I just have that ability to be warm to people and call it my superpower. And make connections. And I want to know people around me. Like I want to have connections. And so in that, I take the first step, which is usually the scary part that people are most afraid of taking. And I initiate these conversations. And in that, they said, we would love for you to be our school's parent-teacher liaison for our school. And so I started that, and that kind of got me on the path of how I could connect with other parents in that small school community, which then got me to thinking, well, how can I grow more than this, of course? And so I went online and I searched for networking, women's networking groups, and I showed up, which once again, the scariest part is getting out of your car, walking to the front door and walking in that group of people. That's the scariest part. And I love when they preface that off the very front and the top for everyone to feel comfortable. Like, yes, that is the scariest part. And I'm so glad. I'm glad I did it. But I made a lot of just business connections that way. That I was then able to see the need for more business connections, especially education for these businesses. And that's when in our community, there was not a fatal tragedy, but a tragic shooting of an autistic boy. And he was just like this skinny little kid. And my husband and our son was 11 at the time, and this boy was only 13. And we thought, that could be DJ. Like, this is not possible. This is not possible. How in the world can this be? So it really gave me, I even turned to Dustin, my husband, and said, I need a louder voice. Like, how can I do this? What do I do? And so I started my Facebook group, which is Autism Advocates Support Group. I intended it for it to be in like literally West Valley City, suburb of Salt Lake City community group, and is now, 1,400 strong globally. It's amazing. Wow. And all of word of mouth. Like, how did that happen? Right? It's so amazing. So in that, I started to understand, okay, now I can start holding business networking events with other businesses and with other people, advocates in the community. And so that is where kind of that took off. And I think out of that, the shows started maybe shortly after that. And then that was the way that I could even have an even farther reach in getting my voice out there. So, yeah.
Kindness. You want to make a difference in the lives of others. And it's literally just human kindness, and you freaking rock. Okay. So what current or future projects, initiatives, you started the nonprofit. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's not quite alive yet, so it's still really piecing it together, but ultimately I'll share the name of it. It's called SJ Childs Global Network, and it will be to hopefully, like we just talked about, be able to network these businesses with these communities. Not only that, but provide better opportunities, especially job opportunities, through programs with, other companies, community colleges, things like that, to really help increase the workforce for this community. So, because my son's going to be there someday. And the funny thing is it's not my exact personal road that I'm on, but it's going to be where I'm going to need to be in the future. And if I build the road ahead of time, I'll know how much easier to take him down than having to start from scratch and just pull from ideas from everywhere else. So that's
that you're prepping for your son to make sure that he's taking, the path that's be best.
Exactly.
Love that. All right. But what other projects?
I am doing an international autism summit in April of next year, where I will have co-hosts from around the world. I already have a couple amazing co-hosts from England, and another one that is here. She is in New York. Then I'm going to have speakers from Australia and India, somebody from the Sweden or the Netherlands and Africa. And we're just going to represent all of these continents and countries and find out more about what it's like for them to live in their homeland, in their country, and be advocates in their, town. So much to learn in that way. We can have a better picture of where better services need to be put and, where we can serve better. So that's our whole goal.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, man. You're rocking it, girl. You have this relentless conviction. You have a mission, and you just go for it. And I think that's fantastic.
Somewhere along the line, I knew I could always get it done, but I don't know that I always, like you said, took it upon myself to know it, now I feel it and I know it, and this is what I want, and I'm going after it. Other times it was more like, I think we'll see where it takes me. So we'll see. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Love it.
Okay. I could literally talk to you all day, but so one of the things I like to ask everybody is, who do you think is the most innovative entrepreneur that influenced you most, and why?
Oh, gosh.
I know. Don't you love it? I mean, it's called Innovative Entrepreneurs.
Yeah. I'm going to go crazy out here in my brain right now and say Elon Musk. And only because in emailing him and having the courage to send on that email, I never heard back from him, but I emailed him and said, I'd love to talk to you about Asperger's. I would love to talk to you about autism. I have a profoundly gifted son, and would love to just pick your brain and have a great conversation. I never heard back from him. That's okay. But what that did was give me the courage to reach out to everyone and anyone I wanted after that. And I was no longer afraid to reach out to Temple Grandin or to, some of the other celebrities and things. And I was just like, nope, here I am. This is what I'm doing. Do you want to be a part of it? Come join me. So thank you, Elon, for doing that for me.
Wow. I heard this on another podcast, but she said, rejection is God's protection. So there's a reason why that email didn't come through. And it's because you had this other journey you needed to go down, right? Like it's exactly that. Whatever you believe in, God, universe, doesn't matter. So tell me about this book real quick. What's the book going to be about?
We actually have 7 children's books, so you can go check those out anytime you like.
7 children's books?
Yes, 7 children's books.
Where can people find this?
You can go to my website, which will lead you just straight to Amazon. Of course, they're on any online web or online bookstore you can find. They are the S.J. Childs Books for Children series. My website, which I'm sure we'll get to just here in a second, is sjchilds.org. Very simple. Just go there. You can find the podcast. You can find the events I'm doing. You can see the businesses that I'm partnering up with. And you can get the books if you are interested in putting them in your child's elementary school or library or just for your family. And the books are 6 different books with a bonus 7 that is a book that my daughter illustrated when she was just 8 years old. So it's beautiful, just this musical work of art together. The books are about autism, Down syndrome, dyslexia, anxiety, and physical differences. So it really helps kids better understand how to support their peers that have differences. Yeah. It was, when you change the minds of children, you can change the future of everything. So that's where we have to start.
Oh, well, we'll make sure that all of that information that you gave is down in the show notes. So we'll make sure that we can, we will share that with everybody. My opinion is that, Sarah, you're changing the world through kindness.
Thank you.
And I think people who are listening, you should reach out to her and find a way that you can support her efforts because she is really making a difference and her voice is loud. So find a way to support her. And, thank you so much, Sarah, for being on this. I know we'll be talking again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Wow. What a great episode. I hope you had as much fun as I did. If you want more of this goodness, make sure you subscribe so that you get notifications for future podcasts. And if you found value from this, please share it with others. You can visit our website at cwgdigital.com. This is Erica Bailey. I am your host, and I will see you next time.